Hi everyone. Just wanted to drop in and say hello. It's been a couple of weeks since I made a video because I hope you were able to watch Christina and Lydia and Neil's video, and of course Sam is having a weekly video each week on Sunday. He posted on the Sandrock Methodist Church Facebook page. So hopefully you are watching his sermons. They have been awesome. We miss seeing you physically, but hopefully we are staying connected in these ways. Hopefully you realize that you are loved and you're missed. And for right now, this is how we can reach out. Hopefully it will change in the near future. But today I wanted to talk to you about a love that I have been studying about called Hesed Love. Have you ever heard of that? Well, the definition of Hesed love is love that is unfailing. Love regardless of how you return it. It's the will to love. In the Bible, there's a book in the Bible that talks about this love a lot. And you may be thinking of Corinthians because it's called the love chapter. But the love book comes from the book of Psalms. Many times in Psalms, it's written by a guy named King David. Have you ever heard that name before? Well, you probably have, because King David was David and Goliath. King David was called to be the king of Israel when he was probably your age. And then he had to wait for years before that came to be. The book of Psalms mostly was written by David, and David's referred to as a man after God's own heart. So when David was called to be the king, like I said, he waited years. Can you imagine knowing that one day you were going to be king and then having to wait? Not next week, not next month, but for years before that came to be. And on top of that, the current king didn't like David and actually planned to kill David on multiple occurrences. So that would be pretty scary. Well, David is referred to as a man after God's own heart. And if you want to know what that looks like in someone's life, the book of Psalms is a great book to read. You'll see David at times of celebration. Sometimes he was so happy that he danced naked in the streets. I'm not sure I would advise that, but you will find that story in the book of Psalms. You'll also find times where David was so downcast and so discouraged, crying out to God for help. You'll also find times where there's just joyous celebrations. So if you want to read a book that's about Hesed love, pick up the book of Psalms. Some people read it, pick a psalm each day and read it. Some people sing it. Some people memorize it. In fact, as a kid in school, I had to memorize the 23rd Psalm, and I'm so thankful that I did. Hesed love. Let's think about, what is that love, just for a second. So in the book of Psalms, when it's talking about Hesed love, remember that's God's unfailing, forever love. So is it talking about God's love for us or our love for God? Do you think it's maybe 50-50 or 75% of the time it's talking about God's love for us and the rest is talking about our love for God? Well, actually, the book of Psalm is talking about God's love for us, 100%. Now, our love for God is important. But the reason we love, this can sound confusing, but the reason we love is because God loved us first. That's the only reason we can love people. We can love our friends. We can love our parents. We can love our grandparents. It's because God taught us love. God loved us first. So do you ever feel like you're not good enough for God's love? Do you ever feel like if you mess up, God will never love you? or God will no longer love you? Well, God's love is different from the love we experience here on earth, from friends, sometimes sadly from parents. God's love is a forever, never failing love. One of my favorite songs is called Reckless Love. I'm not too excited about the title because I think you have to understand the title to understand the message. Reckless Love is talking about, when you think about reckless, you think about someone driving a car and they're driving like crazy. They're being reckless. So when you think about love and reckless, it sort of seems, you think of bad situations when you hear the word reckless. But when you think about God's love being reckless, it's different from what we can comprehend here on earth. In life, we sometimes give up on people because they disappoint us, they hurt us, they may physically hurt us, they may emotionally hurt us, but God never gives up on us. His love is seen at times as reckless because He loves us despite the fact that we may not love Him. He loves us. He forgives us even when we may not be able to forgive ourselves. And that sometimes is seen as reckless love. But in God's eyes, like it says in the song and it says in the Bible, He leaves the 99 to come after the one. And if you've ever been the one, you understand the beauty of that love. I think we all have been the one. So I want to encourage you, don't ever think you have to be perfect to be a Christian. Don't ever think you have to be perfect to be loved by God. Like with King David, when God called David to be the king, he was 12. He wasn't perfect. But you know what? God saw his heart. And He just asked him to be obedient. The same is true for us. God sees our heart. We're going to mess up. We're going to make mistakes. But He loves us. He has an unfailing love for us. Cling to that. All He asks us to do is to be obedient and make the choice to love and follow Him. And when we do mess up, know that He's there with arms wide open to accept and love us. Know that you are loved, you are missed, and we hope to see you soon.